Hi people, welcome back to the channel. It's Chrissy Sawyer here. Very tired Chrissy today. So for those that have been following the Quantum Leap series, I think this is video number 5. And it would be, 5 is change, dynamic change, creative change, expansive change. And I know I don't usually come to the camera on a Saturday because I tend to go dark at the weekends, but I woke up this morning after my 180-degree shift this week and felt absolutely knackered. And we have another lovely day, and there's a part of me that wants to go out and play some more and set the camera up, but I'm really noticing 11:22. But I'm really noticing a shift, a fundamental shift since yesterday. So I tune into dispatches, and it's huge. I didn't even see this one coming. It's huge. Let me just read from my notes. So August is Mahusiv. I can't overstate that. And so we started with this, the beginning of the galactic new year on the 8th of August, that we know as Lionsgate. So that's the alignment between Earth, Sirius, and the galactic center. So huge downloads, new codings coming in, having a physical effect, creating change. And that came in on the new moon in Leo, so massive heart openings and opening up to new experiences. And Leo is fire, so birthing of passion. And then came these 2 yod point activations on 2 different axes. I think we've got Leo Aquarius is one that happened on the 8th. A lot happened on the 8th. And then I think Libra Virgo was the other axis. It's this quite sharp conjunction that goes on that they call the finger of God. It's a really, really sharp, narrow conjunction or activation. And the second one happened on Libra Virgo, I think. And now, tomorrow, which is why I'm coming to camera today, to give you time to prepare, I think what my body is feeling into is another big event going on, which is known as a grand fixed cross. That's a grand cross. It's happening in fixed sign. And that's happening tomorrow. Okay, so fixed cross is going to kind of stop the system just for a minute. Cross is about directionality. Cross is about commitment. It's about elemental balance. And I'm going to go back to Quantum Leap 3, the one sitting under the tree. No, Quantum Leap 2. And if you remember at the end of Quantum Leap 2, some heavier cards came out. 5 cards came out. And just close this down. I'll come back to these notes in a minute. But these 5 cards came out at the end of the second reading. Just bear with me, there's going to be some gaps and pauses. There's all sorts going on in my body. It doesn't know if it's hot or it's cold. I have an awful lot of information coming in. So just go with this is the energy. This is the energy. It's a recalibration on such a massive level. But the card that interests me the most that came out whenever I did number 2, sorry for my scutty nails, they need doing, but yada yada, was the Andean cross. So here was the early warning of this fixed cross that's going on. I'll show you the rest of those cards in a moment. Let's just finish off reading these notes. And then these messages started coming in with yesterday's video. And yesterday's video saw me in a recording in a cemetery. And I'm sorry for filming in portrait. What a novice blunder. I always film in landscape. So I'm sorry for the narrow view. I wish I'd have turned the camera. And Denise, one of my beautiful subs, left an epic comment on the cemetery video. I'm going to read it to you because it bears repeating. Denise says, "There's a certain beauty in ruins." Bam. So she's quoting my last sentence, one of my last sentences on that cemetery video, where I was filming the part of the cemetery that had been left to go wild. And I said, you know, something's building here about leaving something in ruins because there's a certain beauty in ruins. So Denise starts off with, there's a certain beauty in ruins, bam. If we can take that on board, we'd be more and more capable of letting go and tapping into the big, joyous stillness of the now, where the past can be seen as what it served for us to be and see the present light that shines on it. It's bringing the present rather than the past. Beautiful colors of light, blue sky, white fluffy clouds, rays of light, green grass, magnificent church. Seeing the slanted gravestones was for me looking clearly at the human belief in the finality of this life. That was my bam. I'll read that bit again because it's gorgeous. Seeing the slanted gravestones was for me looking clearly at the human belief in the finality of this life. The holding on to the memory, the resistance to let go, the sorrow, the not knowing of our true energetic eternal quality. Nature is there bountifully holding the truth, and in her compassionate, ever pervasive quality, growing wildly among tombstones to form ruins. To be part of the letting go into transmutation, may the ruins of our past and the grace of nature elevate us into deeper joy and presence. Denise, if you're listening, if you don't have a blog, please. If you don't write, please, because that's beautiful. Am I humble? Right. So, Grand Fix Cross tomorrow. So, you know, I've been talking recently about legacy. Let me just move these notes over here so I can see you. I've been talking recently about legacy and about what gets built now is going to be part of the future. I've been talking about instant manifestation and using temperance to come into the conscious moment before it comes out of your mouth, before you form that thought that's going to build another cage. Well, that's what this fixed cross, I think I've been tuning into it for a while with all this legacy stuff. So it's basically what gets built now is getting built for legacy. Okay. So in my inadvertent shift to take my show on the road and not know where it's going, I have no idea that I'm even building anything. All I know is it fills me with joy and passion, and that's it, period. So if that's what I'm building, joy and passion, cool beans, I don't need any more information. And so in this Grand Fixed Cross tomorrow, we're being invited to examine where our rigidity is. It can be limited thoughts, beliefs, and fears around breaking out of those limited beliefs. You know, we're talking tombstones here. What has been set into the ground as a tombstone and left there for so long that it kind of has no meaning. You know, this was an old cemetery yesterday, and some of the gravestones are like 200, 250 years old, and who visits them? You know, and I can hear this pervasive narrative coming in about, oh, but the dead are sacred and we must hold. Really? Can we not challenge that? Is there something healthier to challenge that with? Have we remembered to celebrate that person's life? Up, uplift. Or are we walking around ad nauseum in this state of stricken grief? You know. Yeah. And there's the other thing, that we deify the dead. You know, you've only got to look at Remembrance Day, and I speak carefully but honestly here, because I've attended many Remembrance Days as part of a military tribe in supporting these guys, these beautiful men who have been to war. And I don't find anything in Remembrance Days that moves the world forward in a joyful way. They're very sad and traumatic. And I know so many soldiers that can't even go to organised 11/11 days because it's just re-anchors trauma year after year after year, re-anchoring the trauma. It's like, at some point, do we lose the love for our comrade? Do we lose the love for that? Does that love mutate into something unhealthy? So we're questioning all of this. This is massive. I honestly can't overstate. This is big systems. We've got, you know, religion, the military. Yeah. Church, war, and sovereignty. Sovereignty. I'm going to change that. I'm going to call it royalty. Church, war, royalty. I was talking about this last summer. I called them the dirty bloodlines. They're in here. So, big war wound, jab in the ribs there. So yeah, examining our rigidity and false honoring, let's call it what it is, false honoring. And the deep-rooted programming that was in me yesterday that stopped me setting up a tripod. Because when you follow the objective truth without bias, then I'm standing next to a structure, which we call a church, period. Yes, it's standing on church land. And there's a certain permission in there, so stripping it all back to the facts without getting emotionally lost in the glib comment I think I made about, I'm not going to set the tripod up because that is an invitation to be burned at the stake. So that's really ancient programming. It didn't feel right, whatever right is, to set the tripod up and start filming in a cemetery. But why not? Why not? Would it feel right to take a little radio in there and play music to the graves? Dare we not have that much fun around that kind of, you know, seriousness? We're challenging everything here. It's all turning. So I think the three key planets that are playing are Saturn, Jupiter, and Uranus. So Saturn is the fixedness. Saturn is the structure. It's structures. Jupiter is the expander. Jupiter expands everything, you know, whether it's joyful or painful, Jupiter expands. Uranus changes. Uranus is the rebellious, the rebellion, right? And sun and moon are all in this happening. So light being shone on the truth. And then I think at the end of next week, we have a full moon. So there might be some truths coming out on the world stage. Yeah. So in this energy is becoming really aware of what feels overwhelming to you, where you get overloaded, where you take on too much, perhaps. And it might be that you're taking on too much because that is coming from your past programming. So there's a question in there about your DMP. What is your decision-making process? Does your DMP come from personal motivation? Does your DMP come from the joyful burst of that spark, that moving towards energy, you know? Or does your decision-making process come out of obligation and responsibility? These are the heavy energies that are going. It feels quite Capricornian. When you want to achieve something, does it become difficult, arduous, complicated? Does it need to be that? Is there a simpler way of doing it? But a simpler way of doing it that might make you look a bit of an oddball in your collective because you didn't adhere to the premise of correct behavior or something like that. So there's going to be some kind of 10 of Wands, 10 of Swords energy. 10 of Swords, dead, done, over with, done. Just lie still. Be dead. Just lie down and let it die. Let it die. Stop resurrecting. Just let it die. Whatever it is that's trying to die. 10 of Wands, put your burdens down. You know, and a burdensome thought can literally be the difference between this is really, really difficult because I'm trying to adhere to all of these old processes. And if I don't pay sacred covenant contract respect to all of these old processes, you know, and not to religion and not to bollocks, then my peers might see me as, insert words here. So it's very 10 of Wands, that's burdensome. That's actually creating burdens for ourselves. So the putting down of burdens is to write a permission slip for self. A really loving permission slip, sweetheart, what is it that you want in this? I'm becoming verbally dyslexic, I'm noticing this. Yeah, I've gone off at a tangent, but I'm noticing that I'm struggling to speak in flow and I'm struggling to type basic words. Like it's a kind of weird dyslexia going on for me at the moment. Yeah, 10 of Wands. It's about transmuting our burdens with a permission slip. It can be as simple as that, like this time last year, the permission slips that I've written for myself this last 12 months have been phenomenal. Just to bring my drum into shot, to give you a clue that I work shamanically. To bring the bowl into shot, to give you a clue that I work energetically with resonance and sound. All of that was hidden. To bring all my cards out so they are part of my everyday life. They sit on my desk every day. Permission, what do you want? I want to play. Okay, well, let's put some toys on here. And it's very loving and compassionate. You know, we're still in Leonine energy. It's very loving and compassionate. All right. How do we relate to vitality? What's your relationship with vitality? How do you express joy? How do you feel joy is a better question. Where do you feel joy? Where are you utterly convinced in your body that what you're experiencing is joy? So we're moving into the energy of creating something new. And there's a real pacing here because the Libra Virgo yod point is about the pacing of emotions. That's what I really tuned into this morning, was my message to myself and my inner voice was, don't run before you can walk. You're playing with a massively new energy. It's huge for me. This shift to go out and be seen in such a public way is a huge shift. So the challenge in this cross is about forging your own path. It's about walking in your own light, nobody else's. And every now and then you'll get to join with other people's light and you'll collaborate and you'll dance together and maybe create something together. But principally, autonomy is the essence of forging and walking with conviction in your own light. And a little final note is that most signs are going to be affected by this cross. There are only 2 signs that are not present. They might be the ones we need the most because they are Libra and Cancer. Okay, Libra is balance and justice. And Cancer is nurture, love, family. Family. karmic. It's huge. It's karmic. Right, let's get rid of these notes. There's lots of work going on in the heart and the higher heart. I do feel tired. So I think my only action today is going to be to tune into what it is I want to eat, and nothing more complicated than that, and to cook a beautiful meal for myself, and that's it. I'm really, really tired. All right, let's put you there. Happy Saturday, by the way. How are you doing? How was your week? How are you dancing in these energies? Right. I've picked this, I have chosen this card because it was in the river reading where I sat by the river. I believe this was one of the last coming in on the 7. 7 is the number of the mystic, is about how we fuse light into matter. So it might be about the correct use of light, the correct use of light. So we're looking at covenants and sacred contracts. And while I was taking that card out of the deck, this one flew out. Wow. I'm seeing a whole fractal of the same thing. I've got the 12 missing tribes coming in, and I've never done the research on that, but it just lands energetically with me when I say those words. So for me, it's a something. But I've got 12 tribes at a cosmic level, like 12 tribes coming from different star systems, being thrown into a room. And then all the way down the fractal. On Earth, I'm in a kind of big conference room, and you've got 1,200 people from different countries being put into a room. And the narrative I can hear with that is, my story is not your story. My star system is not your star system. This is, God, diversity is massive here. My crown chakra's taking off. And if we were thrown together at some point in time in some star system, did we get on, or did we fight and compete? Are we still fighting and competing? Sacred contract. All right. Let's just review these 5 cards. I'd grab a coffee if I were you. I think this is going to be a long one, hence me being here, because I need a big space to play. So the 5 cards that popped out of one of the readings at the end. So this is Kundalini, and it's wanting to be brought in with this. I'll tell you the feeling I'm getting. it's a feeling of knowing dread. This is a new one for me. It's like I signed up for something and it's going to be pretty vile. But I signed up in my integrity. It's a knowing dread. I'm kind of getting higher self to lower self here. It's like walking into battle knowingly, but it doesn't feel like battle. It feels like a mission. Is that what that sacred contract means? Something to do with personal power here, sacrificing personal power. I'm going to put this card next to the contract card until I clarify it. Because overall, not me, and I don't want any of my viewers to drop into victim with this. None of it, none of it, none of it. It's part of what's created this, is to move into small, to shrink the cells and pull in cortisol and adrenaline. Do that. We're warriors. Blade. Getting back to integrity, shaving off what doesn't serve. It's just letting go of the cemetery. That might be the sacrifice, actually, is to letting go of our dead thoughts, dead beliefs, dead ways of behaving that actually have never served. And this is the portal, and this is what's happening tomorrow. Okay, let's get some clarifiers. I'm going to go to the ISIS step clarification on the curse. Really, guys, really tune into your body while I'm doing this, and just be aware of what happens in you at a physical level, at a cellular level, at an emotional level, and at a mental level. Tell me about the curse, please. This is sacral. Yeah, this is in the belly. Sickening. It's a sickening energy. This is about, I think most of the videos I've been making for the last 6 months have been sacral chakra, rebirthing passion and joy, sexual creativity. And this is the taking of sexual power, or the giving, right? Because sacrifice, or the giving of sexual power. It'll come out, I hope, in the reading. So the card that came out to clarify the curse is the Temple of Carnelian. And this is talking about trusting in your own boldness and courage. I mean, that's sacral chakra. Oof. Boldness and courage. Taking risks that feel true to your heart and engaging in practices that make you feel truly and genuinely alive. Putting a tripod up in a church one day. That make you feel embodied and more of yourself, even if not always comfortable. Helping yourself to live the life that you were born to live. So, if you work with energy at all, get into your sacral. And then do what you're guided to do. Your sacral is different to my sacral, right? But it's about passion. It's Leo. It's that Leonian power. I know that the solar plexus is represented by Leo and the sun, and that's the masculine center of will. But that needs to work with the sacral to create, to birth. It's the blood of life, if you like. All right. I'd like a clarifier, please, for sacrifice. Tell me more about the sacrifice. Thank you. Very, very. I don't know where to start with this. You've got to bear with me a minute. This is religion. Right, I'm just gonna speak aimlessly into this because I haven't got the full story, and I'm noticing that my mind is making it bloody complicated by trying to get the answers before I'm even in the system. So I'm going to immerse myself into this system called sacrifice. Let that be my example to you of how complicated I can make something like that. Right. First clarifier for the sacrifice is the ankh. So one of the ways that this is known is as the mirror. It's the mirror of the soul. And in 2019, I did a piece of peer work that was massive, and it was to do with the ankh. And it was to do with emotional trauma at the bastardization of the ankh and how it became a cross. And the changing of that energy was really jarring to my system. So it was processing that wounding. So in terms of the sacrifice, the ankh portends new life being born through you now. Sacred blood of life. Stop it with the iconic images. I've got Catholicism coming in and bloody death cult. This new life being born in whatever form, walk your own path, dance in your own light, in whatever form will enrich your life, bringing you more wholeness and fulfillment. What does fulfillment feel like? When was the last time you felt truly fulfilled? What is your relationship with fulfillment? Whatever you're doing now to create your creative destiny, don't give up. Don't give up. There might be some stuck, fixed, stagnant energy, but it's all happening. It's all happening. Let it happen. Let it happen. So with the ankh coming in terms of clarification for the sacrifice, and the sacrifice is connected to Kundalini, what that's telling me is it's over. It's over. You get to create with you, for you, by you. It's over. I feel that very strongly. And the other one that flew out, yeah. Oh, beautiful. Look at this. This is called Goddess of 10,000 Names. It speaks into the multidimensional selves. If you felt constrained by a role, a name, or identity, and you're wishing for assistance in growing beyond it, or if you sensed a new role or identity calling you into greater expression and would love some divine help in that growth, this oracle indicates the help you need is already with you. I would say is already within you, urging your growth from within. So if you were to burst out of the constraints that you might be in at the moment, what's that going to look like? What's it going to feel like? Can you dance it? Can you sing it? Can you move it? Can you picture it? It's going to look like, what are you going to bring into the world that's uniquely divergent from what we already know you to be? Beautiful. It's growing. Aye, 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 aye. What else do we want clarification on? All right, yes. I would like to know. Ooh, this is a big question. What deck of cards do I use? I want to know what's going on in the hidden field. I want to know what's going on under the surface that we can sense but can't quite name. Yeah, thank you. Show me what's going on under the surface that we can't quite name, please. Show me what amazing change is going on under the surface that we can't quite name. Will that do you? It's happening in that energy. So it might happen and it might feel a bit volcanic. All right, we haven't got Libra to help us balance. So if you feel words are coming, shut your mouth. Just pause. Pause, use silence if you need to. The rebalancing of the energetic body, the ability to fly. And Sun, happiest card in any deck. Wow. Growth, transformation, success, expansion. It's very Leonian, very feminine as well. So that's happening under the surface. Fire is lighting up the rainbow body. Right. So we've got this lost compass and getting back to integrity. That's what card wants to speak with these two. Getting back to integrity. It is all happening for you because it's over. Whatever it is over. And the underlying card. Oh, that's interesting. Came across a quote the other day. As you stare into the abyss stares into you. I think it's by Nietzsche. And I'm seeing this as being seen. I'm seeing this as a seer in non-physical reality, now suddenly able to see, to view and to witness and to support. It's like something that couldn't see or make connection with previously. Yeah. God. Okay, I'll sum it up with that card. There's too much coming in. It's just, yeah, it's too weird. It's magic, all right? It's magic. I hope that doesn't patronize you. My intention is never to patronize my audience, but what's coming in was I'm resisting now. Bear with me. So much going on. I know. Yeah. No, I'm not talking it in. I'm not talking it in. It's not time yet. Right. So it's like what's been trying to get to us now has access, can see. There's a real thinning of the veil here. Ask. Because that's now blank. That now looks blank. What contract are you going to write? Ooh, this is exciting. I want another card on here, please. Ooh, that shifted the energy. Okay, put that there and that there. And I will clarify, please. Contract. It's coming, baby. It's coming. Oh, wow, look at this. God. Raining down with wishes granted, raining down, purification of the emotional body. Look how powerful that is. Wow. Luminous Warrior. So many cards pointing towards the light body. There's a real purification going on in the light body. I'm convinced of it. This is just, yeah. See the abundance in your life. No matter what you're doing or where you are, really, really see the abundance in your life. Even if it is the abundance of being able to walk out of your own front door and go and sit in a field, that's a certain amount of abundance for those in the world that cannot. Wow, so they are clarifying the new sacred contract. The big giveaway, Luminous Warrior, and the Rainmaker. That's what's happening in the hidden. Let's have a look, please, at what is happening in this reality. What can we look out for, please, in this reality? Sudden change. Uranus is in a fixed cross. Building energy to explode, it looks like. Just explode the containers. If you feel any of your containers suddenly just breaking apart, go with it. Go with it. Don't try and get back in. Because this is a time, I think I said in one of my videos recently, to be walking away from comfort. Find your and walk towards it, whatever that is. Kind of wanna, but it's gonna make me uncomfortable. Yep, walk towards it before you're made to do so. Okay. 5611. This is DNA. Yeah, this is big change, big change. Oh, just spotted a herd of buffalo. Wow. So in the physical world, just noticing the elements we have: the sun, the rain, thunder, Just noticing. Okay, more on what we're going to see. Thank you. Lots. All right. I'm going to speak into this one because there's some weird tish going on. Right. Has anybody been watching? Does anybody get Disney Channel, Marvel? Has anybody watched the Loki series? And I think Marvel films are public information films when you know how to read them. The Loki series is jaw-dropping. It's about the sacred timeline where everybody's safe and we don't veer off it. It's just profound. Time Master. Do you remember me speaking the other day about getting lost on the A1, a road I know like the back of my hand, because I suddenly phased into a different landscape. I didn't know where I was. Within 3 days of that video, I was speaking to somebody who said the same thing happened to me. I suddenly thought, oh shit, where the hell am I? Have I been asleep this last 10 miles? So, and Wednesday morning for me was 9 hours long. I mean, what on earth? So there's something happening with time, which is phasing out of reality. Access points. Let me just look at these. How are you doing with my pacing? I know that I feel like something is crawling on me. What's the message here, please? I'll show you the cards while I tune in. So these cards are coming out to clarify what are we going to see in the seen, known world. So the Time Master could simply be Kronos, Saturn, the lower world, and the rattle, speak deeply. Oh, wow. I'm getting something so soft and beautiful with these two cards. And that in itself is a different, if I just take those two cards, and a quicker witted me might have gone straight to deep shadow work. But when I just sit and feel into the energy, what comes through is a message that's something like, when you go down into the lower world, there will be someone there waiting for you. You are no longer unsupported. You are no longer alone. It's like something that hasn't had access to support us is coming in. Yeah, I feel you too. Heart, it's big. It's imagine not feeling alone. Imagine being able to visit your lower world, the unseen, unknown part of you. And there'll be somebody there, an energy there waiting for you, just waiting for you. So missing from that scenario is any narrative that might suggest to you that there's no one there for you, which tells me that the abandonment program is just really dissolving. Oh, wow. I'm seeing a multi-dimensional timeline, and the flow is being able to flow into the upper, middle, and lower worlds. Just from one to the other, moment to moment. Rather than, I'm going to sit and do some shadow work. It's just, it feels really rich. It doesn't feel segmented like the dark work, the light work. It's like a, it's beautiful. I'm running out of language. I know I am, sorry. Hopefully you'll get your own bits and pieces if you're tuned in. Let's just, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to go to the archetype cards, and it might be that the days of archetypes is also flowing away. Which archetypes, oh, let's just call it, shall we? Which archetype's going to be eradicated? Which archetypes that no longer serve us are going to be eradicated? Wow, really, speaking loudly. 3. Servitude rather than service. I'm taking this in its shadow attribute, which is about, well, I'll give it to you simply. And its shadow attribute is about bloody people inviting me to connect with them on LinkedIn and then hammering me with networking bollocks. Join this, sign up for this. And it's just like, click, off you go. It's nothing to do with networking. Conveys information only for personal gain. Spreads fear and falsehood. Wow. So, monk, nun. Monks and nuns, are any of you religious, have been religious, have abandoned, or what do they call it, lapsed? There's some monk nun, monk nun energy in the system at the moment. And it's in the mask wearing collective. And I've noticed I'm now being glared at for not wearing a mask because I'm making a personal choice not to. And I'm being glared at by mask wearers. And it's like, if I respect that you want to wear a mask, where is the lack of respect in you that I don't? And where can we embrace diversity in that? And it's the same with religion. Religion separates into those that do and those that don't, those that belong and those that are pariahs. So this probably means we can start looking forward to new codings about how we embrace diversity. And that's going to speak into how you handle conflict. Because if that internal conflict narrative is dissipating or dissolving, then the old words of, well, you're nothing like me, ergo you're something, I'm better than you, you're better than me, compete, compare, mask wearer, non-mask wearer, whatever, that's going to go, isn't it? And there's going to be this open curiosity Who are you? What are you? Oh, okay. Wow, that would be amazing. I so want to speak into religion because that's my Uranus is just going, go on, be a rebel. I'm not going to because it'll be a 4-hour long reading. But can you feel the energy is lifting and lightening? We went a bit deep there with the whole Thunder Time Lower World thing. So yeah, I'm going to put these on the blade as clarifiers. Monk Nun, the networker, yeah, the false caring, you know, that's basically it. Networking as someone who falsely cares. Real networking is, I know someone over there who's a bit of a stranger to me, but they said this thing one day and it really landed with me and I stored it. And now I've met this person over here who I know a little bit, and I don't know why, but my impulse is just put them in touch and stand back and leave it. That's networking. There's no ego in it. It serves the collective. And the addict. Well, I mean, addiction is a pandemic. It is a pandemic created by, well, at the seat of addiction tends to be loneliness. From a therapeutic, I can't, what's wrong with me? Yeah. From a therapeutic point of view. You see, I mean, the description here, even in the light attribute, helps you recognize and confront addictive behavior. Confront, that's so combative, that language. How about understand? How about flow, own, love, addictive behavior, confront. I know I've gone wide, haven't I? Wide and up. Let's start wrapping this up. What we're going to wrap it up with, please. What's that? I don't know what these are, but let's go with these. Can we have some wrap-up message, please? Guidance. Guidance message. Do you need to wrap up this reading? What should I call this reading? Timelines, compass, cross. How about that? Timelines, compass, cross. That's my title. That's got sacral written all over it. Oh. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Plunging boldly into life. Making a mess. And for the second time, we have the sun. Is there another one? Is the underlying? God, I can't speak. I must be chronic dehydrated. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, now then. Why am I looking over there? Bear with me. Right, let me just show you. This talks about foster your intention to incarnate. in this dimension. And that made my eyes go to the curse and the temple of carnelian, the sacral. The sacral. I want to clarify on this, please. Just on that card. What's your intention for incarnating into this dimension? I think there's going to be multi-dimensional use arriving. Where am I going, please? That's a one. That's why I need a big desk. I like to make a mess. Right. Clarify this, please. Confusion. I think this is about manifesting. I also think this is leading into the next video. Okay. The acceptance of joy. All right. So again, what's your relationship with joy? Where do you remember feeling utterly joyful? Where do you feel it in your body? How are you convinced that it's joy? Where can you absolutely stand by that and know it? Right. So we've got belly work going on here. Lots of sacral cards. And those two passionate cards are being complemented by confusion and rest. It's okay to be confused. I was talking to somebody the other day, I can't remember who it was. When I ask a client, how do you feel? And they say confused. There's a movement in them sometimes to move away from that and to come back into clarity too quickly. But confusion's good. Confusion is flux. So what you've done is you've created thunder in the mind. You brought new light into the mind, and the mind hasn't quite caught up. So you rest and you be with confusion. All right, I get it now. This is about manifestation. This is about sacral chakra, and this is about joy, about you, your personal integrity, and walking in your own light, and lots of other stuff. But yeah, plunging boldly into life, I think that's what I'll call this. Fixed cross meditation. I'm going to wrap it up swiftly and thank you all for being here. I know it's a long one for today, but this energy is with us now and will no doubt cook for at least the rest of August. So baby steps, happy manifesting, stay in your joy. And yeah, I'll be back again soon. Lots of love, guys. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks for your comments. Thank you again, Denise, for that beautiful comment. Lots of love, you guys. Bye-bye.